Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I wanted to bring you a video that I've been meaning to do for several years now, basically since James Gunn and Peter Safran took over DC from Zack Snyder and the other people who used to run Warner Brothers. So for a quick history lesson, the fall of 2022, Dwayne Johnson is hyping up and teasing Black Adam, which hadn't come out yet, teaching how to reshape the DC universe, so the hierarchy of the DC universe was about to change. Movie came out. I enjoyed it fine. I thought it was great. Unfortunately, not everybody shared my enthusiasm. I believe it was a commercial and critical flop. But I was very happy and excited when in the post-credit scene teased the return of Henry Cavill's Superman facing down Johnson's Black Adam. Not too long after that, it was revealed that Henry Cavill would be returning as Superman in multiple DC films. Well, unfortunately, not too long after that, I believe it was December of 2022, it was announced that Warner Brothers had undergone a behind-the-scenes shakeup where the leadership had changed and the president was no longer, I think it was Walter Hamada, was no longer calling the shots for DC. And the new president brought aboard James Gunn and Peter Safran. James Gunn, of course, was famously fired for some controversial tweets by Disney and Marvel until they took back their actions and brought him back to direct a third and final Guardians of the Galaxy film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And once he finished on that film, he was going to shift focus and priorities to DC. The first of which being his Superman film, which was in development at the time, and of course has now since come and gone. So unfortunately, Dwayne Johnson's plans for DC went out the door, although he did seem to tease a possible return to the role of Black Adam in the future, just not anytime soon. And what's even more interesting is that James Gunn tweeted back at his official public statement saying, "Can't wait to collaborate soon." Is that referring to him in the role of Black Adam, or is he saying, hey, we've got another role in mind for you for our new DC universe. Come on over whenever you feel like it. We simply don't know yet. It's too early to tell. So, with all that being said, James Gunn announced a slate of projects in January of 2023, some of which have already happened. Creature Commando Season 1, Superman, the Supergirl movie that's about to come out later this summer, the Green Lantern TV show Lanterns also coming out later this summer. And then there were some other projects that are stuck in development hell: Paradise Lost, Waller, Booster Gold, TV shows that have seemingly gained no traction, have gone nowhere for the time being. Movies based on The Authority, Batman Brave and the Bold, which apparently does have a screenwriter, so that one's at least gained some traction on it. Swamp Thing was another film. Again, don't know if it's happening or not. So basically, all these films and TV shows are stuck in development hell. They may or may not ever be made. But some have come out, and some have paved the way for a bright future. Creature Commando Season 1 was awesome, as was the Superman film, as was Peacemaker Season 2, and now we've got Supergirl to look forward to later this year, along with the Lanterns TV show, and one that I'm absolutely pumped and excited for, Clayface. So that should be a lot of fun. It's being described as a body horror film, so yay. With all that being said, I have been meaning to do this for a while, where I wanted to do a video showcasing all of the characters whom I absolutely enjoyed and I hold near and dear to my heart. From the old DC universe, how I would love it if they were brought back for this new DC universe. Whether they're played by the same people or not is, of course, up to James Gunn and Peter Safran. But the characters themselves, I would love to see the characters return in some capacity in the near future. Will they all come back someday? I don't know. Some are more likely than others. We'll see. But once we get to the list, you'll see what I'm talking about. So I hope you're listening, James Gunn and Peter Safran, because take notes. Like they would listen to me. All right, anyway, let's get to the list here, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So first up, as I stated in the opening of this video, I really enjoyed the movie Black Adam, especially Dwayne Johnson's performance as the anti-hero. I thought he was a fascinating character with an interesting backstory, and the fact that he's an anti-hero, he's not straight up a villain and straight up a hero, but somewhere in between, makes him all the more gripping and interesting to me. Of course, I would love to see Dwayne Johnson return to play this role someday down the line and go up against David Cornsweat's Superman, but that may not happen. But whether or not he's played by Dwayne Johnson or somebody else, I just hope they bring back the character Black Adam to this new DC universe. As like I said, he's one of my new favorite characters, and I very, very much enjoyed the film and would love to see more of the character explored in the future. Again, whether he's played by Dwayne Johnson or not will remain to be seen, but I hope they bring the character back in some capacity. Moving on down the line here, we have another character, one that may surprise some people, but I absolutely adored this character, and I wish he had more of a bigger role and an overall presence in the Birds of Prey film from a few years ago. But Bruce the Hyena, Harley Quinn's pet hyena, who eats the nasty pet store owner shortly after Harley acquires him in Birds of Prey. This character has been seen in countless cartoon adaptations featuring Harley and the Joker. I would love to see this hyena return to the future DC cinematic universe in some capacity or role, perhaps with a bigger role. James Gunn is quite good at taking CG animals and characters and making them to fan favorites. He could easily do that with Bruce the Hyena. Perhaps if Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn returns to the DCU, perhaps Bruce can tag along with her as well, as that would be amazing. Another character who I really enjoyed in James Gunn's first DC film, The Suicide Squad, was Ratcatcher 2, played by the lovely and talented Daniela Melchior. And I thought this was an interesting character, one I had no familiarity with going into The Suicide Squad, but she quickly became a favorite character of mine. She was one of the few survivors of the film, so she could easily return to this universe, as this movie could take place in both the DCU and the DCEU. So the fact that this film is mostly canon, which means most of the surviving characters are as well, and could easily pop up in this new DC universe headed up by Safran and Gunn, means that it's pretty likely or possible we could see her return in some capacity someday to the DCU, hopefully preferably played by the same actress. Again, fascinating character with a unique and perhaps nasty superpower, but one that I really enjoyed, and I think many of us enjoyed as well too. And finally, one of my absolute favorite characters of DC lore, comics, and mythology, and in film, is Black Manta, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Played the character in both Aquaman films. Sadly, he didn't appear in any other DC EU films beyond those two Aquaman movies, but I absolutely love the character and his interpretation of it. It seems unlikely we'll ever see him played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II again, considering his character's fate is left up in the air at the end of the second Aquaman film, and in the new direction that James Gunn and Peter Safran is taking this new universe in. The character will probably return someday, but probably not played by the same actor, which is too bad, because he did a wonderful, wonderful job playing this role. I first fell in love with this character during a limited series run that DC put out called Forever Evil. Excellent comic book read. I would highly recommend it if you're a DC fan, or if you enjoy characters like Black Adam and Black Manta. Very much worthy recommend reading. So I hope you guys check it out after this video. But Black Manta is a character I would absolutely love to see return to James Gunn's new universe. Whether he's played by the same actor or not, of course, is not up to me, but the character himself, I'd love to see him return someday. So fingers crossed we get a reboot one day. Another character I'd love to see return to James Gunn's DC universe, and this one seems pretty likely because Gunn directed him in his first DC film, which again is mostly canon to this new universe, The Suicide Squad, is Bloodsport, portrayed by the brilliant and talented and badass Idris Elba. He did a wonderful job playing this character in The Suicide Squad. I'm so happy he survived the events of the film, leaving the door open for him to return in future DC films. I really hope he, of all characters, comes back, because the probability and likelihood that he and Ratcatcher 2 could return are very high, considering, again, that was a James Gunn movie they first appeared in, and now that he's calling the shots with the entire universe, it feels like Idris Elba could return as Bloodsport with one phone call. But again, only time will tell, but it is exciting to think about the possibility and the potential of it. Speaking of badasses, another character who was a real highlight in my least favorite DCEU film, a movie I liked at first, but as the years went by, I realized how awful it was, and the only reasons why I liked it was because of the characters Harley Quinn, Deadshot here, and Killer Croc. Is Deadshot played by the very talented, charismatic Will Smith. Now, Will Smith is a pretty busy guy, with a lot on his plate and a full schedule, so I don't know if he'll have time to play the character of Deadshot ever again someday. And again, because the character took place in another universe that James Gunn and Peter Safran had nothing to do with, Deadshot, the character, will hopefully appear someday, but maybe or maybe not played by Will Smith. But again, if Will Smith doesn't play the character, no worries. I would just love to see the character of Deadshot return to the DC universe someday. Also, another character who was one of the few highlights from the awful Suicide Squad for me, besides Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Will Smith as Deadshot, another character I enjoyed was Killer Croc, played by, and I'm sorry if I butchered this name, Adewale Akinuyue Agbaj. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering the name, but he played Killer Croc, and this was a character who I had always wanted to see adapted to the big screen, and I'll give the movie credit for doing that, but overall still a terrible, terrible film. But I would love to see Killer Croc return in this new universe. Whether or not he's played by the same actor is another story and seems pretty unlikely, but again, stranger things have happened. We don't know what the future holds in store for this character or this franchise. So again, it could happen, but I just hope that Peter Safran and James Gunn bring this character back to the DC universe as a proper Batman villain and perhaps a temporary member of the Suicide Squad or Task Force M in Creature Commandos. Well, guys, those are all the characters I hope we get to see return to the DCU someday. Hopefully played by the same actors who brought them to life in the old universe. But if not, that's okay too. No worries there. Just as long as we see the characters brought back to this new cinematic universe. Whether or not they're played by their same actors or not isn't up to us, up to me, or any of us. It's up to Peter Safran and James Gunn. So whether or not any of those actors and actresses return to play these respective roles is out of our hands. But personally, I would love to see any or all of these characters return to the DCU someday. A character I thought about including in this list, but then I didn't have to because James Gunn beat me to it, as it was revealed in the season 1 finale of Creature Commandos over a year ago, was King Shark. As Creature Commandos picks up after the events of the Suicide Squad, it looks like King Shark found himself back in jail not too long after that, so but now he's back as a task force member of Creature Commandos, so that's awesome. So I'm so happy they brought that character back because he was an absolute delight and a huge fan favorite from the Suicide Squad. So if you guys are looking forward to seeing any of these characters return in some capacity someday, who and why do you like these characters? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts and input on any or all of these characters, why you like them, why they should come back, maybe why they shouldn't come back. Just please remember to keep it civil and be respectful of one another's beliefs and opinions, because again, it's just entertainment. Have a great rest of your night, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And again, thank you for watching. Take care. Good night. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.